So today we have the all new Rocket X from Hoka. I'm going to be taking it for a first run impression. But first, let's unbox it and I'll talk you through the key stats and features. So here it is, the latest carbon racing shoe from Hoka. This comes in at £220 to the market, and in my UK size 7.5, just put it on the scales, it weighs 205 grams, so a super lightweight carbon racing option. The most exciting thing about this shoe that I am really interested to try today is the midsole. So we have a Pebax midsole or PEBA. Hoka traditionally use EVA in their midsoles, but they've gone for a PEBA compound, which is a lot more responsive in terms of energy return. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that feels today. We've also got a full-length carbon plate in this one that sort of prongs out over the toes. We have 36mm of stack height in the heel, dropping it down to 31mm in the forefoot, so a 5mm drop. Other stats before we move on to the meaty marathon workout. We've got a synthetic mesh upper, seems to be quite breathable. We've got a fully gusseted tongue, and yeah, I'm really excited to try this one out today. So we're just on the way down to the start of the workout. It's about 5k to where I'm going to start the session today. It's a pretty meaty marathon workout. I'm 23 days out from the Boston Marathon. So I've got 7 by 3k marathon effort today, which hopefully is around 325 per kilometre. We'll see how we do when we get down there. But yeah, so far the shoes are feeling really good. The Pebax midsole is super bouncy, even at like 430 per kilometre pace. I'm ticking along nicely, so yeah, I think this session's going to go pretty well. Heart rate is also pretty low today. We're ticking along at around 125 beats per minute, which is pretty good. I can definitely feel coming down from altitude, it feels a lot easier to run today. So yeah, fingers crossed, this should be a really good session. Got down to the start of the loop. This is where we're going to start. It's literally 3 kilometers, nice and flat this way. Today's actually the first day I've got a camera guy with me, so exciting times on the channel. We're up in the production quality, so hopefully you can notice. And the workout is 7 by 3k at marathon pace with 1 minute 30 rest in between each rep. So yeah, Liam's going to follow me on the bike, try and get some good shots today, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Rep number 1. Go, rep number 1 done, 1 down, 6 to go. Quite nice with that tailwind. It's going to be tough going back that way, but luckily I've got 4 reps in this direction, so yeah, I think I averaged about 325 per kilometre, which is exactly what I want to hit for these reps. So yeah, a minute more recovery, back that way, and we're off. Down, 5 to go. So much harder that way. The wind is ridiculous. 200 to go. Come on. Whew. Knackered. Absolutely knackered. So I'm back from my first run in the Hoka Rocket X2, and if I'm totally honest, I am shocked at how well this shoe performed. There's no doubt for me that this is up there with the carbon racing shoes that are on the market. The Pebax midsole is a real game changer for Hoka and their innovation when it comes to super shoes. It is super responsive, and I'm going to talk you through my first impressions in just a second. But before we do that, let me just jump in to today's workout on Strava. So today's workout was 7 by 3K at marathon pace with 1 minute 30 seconds in between each rep. The wind today made the workout quite difficult. One of the reps was wind assisted and the other rep was sort of into the winds. So the pace fluctuates a little bit throughout the reps, but overall I was pretty happy with how the session went. So let's jump into it here on Strava. If we go down to the workout analysis. So to get down to the start of the workout, I ran 5.47 kilometers at 4:32 per kilometer pace. So nice and easy, just down to where I like to do my workout, the nice flat sort of quiet country lanes, which really help when it comes to running fast. And the shoes felt really comfortable at sort of easy to moderate pace. Some super shoes feel a little bit uncomfortable when running relatively slow compared to your marathon pace, but the Hoka Rocket X2 felt comfortable at easy paces, which is always nice. It's a nice versatile shoe, so I could do my warm-up, then go straight into the workout and have no issues with having to change shoe or anything like that. So the first repetition was 3K, and then I was going to have 1 minute 30 recovery, and the first 3K was with the wind behind me, so average 3:26 per kilometer. The second rep was 3:28, the third rep 3:25 per kilometer, the fourth rep was 3:30 into the wind again, then with the wind behind me 3:27, and then the last two reps, so rep number 6 was 3:28 per kilometer, and then the final rep was 3:21 per kilometer. I cranked down the speed a little bit towards the end there to finish in 3:21 per kilometer, and then we had a 6.5 kilometer run back to the house, average 5:08 per kilometer, nice and easy, back up the hill, back to the house. So yeah, let's jump into the Rocket X and how it felt on foot for the first run. As I said, I was a little bit shocked at how good this shoe performed. I tried the Hoka Rocket X, the original, and it was a good shoe, but I probably wouldn't have chosen it as a race day option. It was good for training, but it lacked the responsiveness of some of the other super shoes on the market. But the Rocket X is a completely different feel underfoot. It's soft, but also really, really responsive. The foam that Hoka are using here has a really high energy return, and immediately I could feel that when I was running along, even at easy paces. So as I do with shoes here on the channel, I'll go over some likes and dislikes to share with you my first impressions, and I'll do a full review after 100 miles. But today we got 30 kilometers, 32 kilometers, something like that. Around 20 miles of work in the shoe straight out of the box, and I had no hot spots, no blisters, no issues at all, so that's a really good sign. To be able to take a shoe out of the box and go out for a first run and have no issues is always nice, but not always the case with new shoes. So the first thing I really enjoyed was how responsive that midsole feels. It's a good balance between being soft but also responsive. The carbon fiber plate gives the shoe a nice rigidity, and I felt like it was really helping propel me forward, just what you want from a carbon racing shoe. I also enjoyed how lightweight it was, and it feels that on foot. The upper is very much stripped back for racing. We've got a synthetic mesh upper, which is very breathable, and the heel counter, there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of structure to the upper, but for a carbon racing shoe, I really like that, the stripped back feel, and it just really promotes running fast. I also really like how much of an improvement this is for Hoka, moving from an EVA compound to a PEBA compound. It's just completely changed this shoe, and it's hardly relatable and comparable to the original Rocket X. So yeah, a big step in the right direction, and I would be more than comfortable racing anything from 5k, 10k half marathon in this shoe. Maybe wouldn't be my first choice for the marathon, but certainly for that 10k half marathon distance, I think this is going to be the sweet spot for this shoe for me personally. And finally, on to some of my dislikes. The only concern I have was the sizing. Potentially would have gone half a size up. For me, I personally like my racing shoes to be a snug fit, but if you like a little bit of room in the toe box, you might want to consider going half a size up. Another issue that I sort of had when putting this shoe on, if you take the laces nice and loose, you won't have any issues, but it does have a gusseted tongue, which just makes the shoe a little bit difficult to get on. There's sort of like a cage system inside the shoe which doesn't really stretch too much, so it made it a little bit difficult to get on, but it's only a minor concern there, and once I had it on it felt really good, and that's the main thing. And the only other thing I noticed was in the wet, sort of the puddles out on the run and the sort of muddy areas on the road, the grip wasn't top tier. It was more than adequate on the dry sections, but on the areas where it was a little bit wet, the shoe didn't perform maybe as well as I would have hoped. But saying that, sometimes when you take a shoe out for the first run, the grip doesn't feel quite as good, and you have to sort of almost break it down on the road surface until it becomes a bit stickier. So I did feel that towards the end the grip was improving, but straight out of the box the grip wasn't top tier. So that pretty much summarizes my first impressions of the all new Hoka Rocket X 2. I'm seriously impressed from Hoka. If I'm totally honest going into this review, I wasn't expecting this to perform as well as it did today, and this is definitely going to be one of my go-to race shoes moving forward. If you'd like to check out other Hoka reviews here on the channel, then you can click up here, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more running shoe related content. But until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire, and we'll see you again soon.